Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker, it's good to see you. Listen,
You're a Bitcoin maximalist. You're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.
Hey, I don't have all the answers, but together, I know we can find them.
hey everybody, welcome to the show. Happy Monday. Good to have you with us as always. A lot going on in the world today. We got Hamas and the Middle East peace. We got Ukraine and Russia. That's just long gone from the map. We got Bitcoin at over 125,000. Woo, all-time high. What else? Oh yeah, the government shut down 6 days ago. Nobody even cares. Nobody even cares that the government shut down. I mean, I guess they do care if you're getting paid by the government. Here's the crazy thing. I've lived through a lot of government shutdowns. I've never worked for the government, so, well, that's not true. I did for a very short period work for the International Trade Commission. So I guess I had a government job for a very short amount of time, a long time ago. It's the same thing every time. It's the same stupid fight every single time. And there's a metaphor in all this, because what I've realized is the people involved in the fight are so caught up in the fight and so caught up in their own little circle. And I did work in and around Washington for a long time. I was a young political activist for some nonprofits. I guess that very short period for the International Trade Commission inside the Clinton White House. They're so insulated. They don't even realize. They think they're like they think this fight matters, and they get on their high horses, and both sides do their thing, and it's like A, most people don't care. B, all they're doing is burning whatever little tiny bit of credibility they retain. Whatever little thread of we actually think these people are fighting for us. First of all, everybody lies. Okay? I mean, if you want me to drag you through the details of why we're having a shutdown, I think I mentioned the other day, they have X number of funding bills they have to pass, 7 or whatever it is. And if they don't, they're appropriation bills. And if they don't pass them, then they got to stall and buy more money till they pass them. They do it every time. It's called the continuing resolution, a CR. And they do it every time. I don't know when the last time they didn't. They extend the time period. And then maybe they raise the debt ceiling. Because they, 1, need more time, and 2, need more money. And so it goes 25 years later. Every year. And it doesn't matter who's in control of Congress. We hit the shutdown, and everybody throws mud at each other. So in this case, the Democrats are insisting that the evil Republicans, who represent like 1% of the country, right? They represent the rich billionaires. Because in Democrat land, they didn't realize that like over half the country voted for him. Unless I'm wrong, and over half the country is billionaires. I think they represent a lot of people who aren't billionaires, but not inside Washingtonville. The evil Republicans who care nothing for the American people and only think about themselves and their billionaire cronies are once again trying to get away with a fast one on you. Now, again, let's take note. You guys lost the election across the board. You lost. You didn't just lose Congress, the Senate, the House. You lost a Trump who you literally impeached as many times as humanly possible through every single legal lawsuit, civil and criminal, you could at him, and basically let him almost get shot and killed. You still lost to him. You aired out every single horrible thing he might have ever done. The grab him by the pussy, the payoff Stormy Daniels, the porn star. You racked up, put him in court so he couldn't be on the campaign trail, and he still beat you. He still won more people. And you're going to go back to what he won because Elon Musk, he had the billionaires. It's like, oh God, they're so insulated. He won because he got a message out to more people that they actually related to. While you guys sat on your stupid, wokey stuff about pronouns and it's just so important that trans kids who are literally the most abused, saddest element of American society ever. Where were you for all the fucking disabled kids in the world who struggle every day with real disabilities, huh? Where was your battle cry for them? The battle cry to help I did a movie called Magnificent Burden. It's on Amazon Prime. Check it out. It's about kids with a deadly incurable disease. And it looks into the larger world of kids who have disabilities or whatever we want to call them, different abilities. And where were you for those kids? Where is the battle cry for them? So if a really disabled kid wanted to play in the sports league, would you let him? It'd be the backwards one. It would be not that they would beat the other team, it's they would hurt the team they're on. We do have the Special Olympics for that very reason. And the girl who at the time was kind of the spokesperson of it is in the movie. Beautiful young woman, at the time a teenager. This is like 5-6 years ago, and just so passionate. And those kids, man, you watch this movie, you watch what these kids go through. They aren't whining, they aren't crying, they aren't demonstrating, they aren't calling attention, going, "Woe is me." They're out there fighting against lacking certain abilities that the rest of us take for granted. I'm talking kids. I'm talking a kid who literally could move his eyes and his 2 fingers, period. 17 years old, could move 2 fingers and his eyes. We held an 18th birthday party for him in Vegas. The lead singer of Motley Crue showed up because he'd built a big social following. And I interviewed this kid, and again, I have to he could hear me, but he could only respond with 2 fingers on a keyboard or tablet. And I asked him how challenging it must be. I swear to God. He said, "I'm lucky." I was like, how are you lucky? He's like, "I'm alive. And I have a brain. And I can think. And I can communicate, even though it's weird how I do it." And he said, "And I can help other people see how lucky they are." It's like, wow. Wow. Last time I complained. But Democrats were really concerned with focusing on trans kids who apparently are the most disabled and disadvantaged because they're the pariahs of society. I'm being facetious. They're not. And those who are trans and in transition you can think they're confused. You can think they're sick. I think they're just people going through a massive identity struggle. And yes, they are confused, but they'll sort it out. And it doesn't mean some of them aren't actually going to come out on the side of "I was born in the wrong body." But they're not the world's greatest victims. And they don't get to play in sports leagues when they're born as men with girls and women. It's just not fair. Dems made that their hill to die on, among a couple others. That and Hamas. They made that, but the trans thing was really their hill to die on. And now they wonder why they lost. And as we're going into a government shutdown, their best defense is, once again, Republicans are evil and don't care about you. God, guys, wake up. Democrats don't know how to win an election at this point. They only know how to posture. And their posturing gets more and more and more bad and more offbeat, and their base gets smaller and smaller, and people tune out more and more. If you want to help the Republicans win, just keep doing what you're doing. I'm not actually making a case for the Republicans here. I'm just saying, Demsman, you've gone out of your way to roll out the red carpet for them. I mean, you're going to figure out how to lose the midterms, which almost never happens because of what you do. Republicans on their side do a version of it too. They cry foul when they're in the minority. And when they're in the majority, they do what they're doing, which is, insist that, Democrats are just trying to get in the way and don't really want any progress or things to happen. Both sides say a version of the same thing. And I'm not trying to do a both sides argument. But when you look at Washington and you look at Congress, you kind of have to take a both sides argument. It's not whether or not you can argue that, your party has the better values or ideals, or in the case of the Republicans, we're the ones that stand for more common sense solutions, and we're willing to engage, and we don't commit violence against our opponents, and we're open to civil discourse. Sure. But when you go inside the insular bubble that is Washington, D.C., it's a clusterfuck. That's what Trump discovered in his first term. He went inside that bubble and it literally blew up on him every other day. Yeah, remember he had the 63-day government shutdown then. It was over the funding of the border wall, which, remember, we didn't need a wall. We didn't have any illegal immigration problem. And Democrat stuff always comes back to hurt them. Like, if you wanted to encourage a pathway for for foreign people to come into the United States and get safety or sanctuary or discover the American dream, the worst thing you could do was open the floodgates so anybody who wanted could just claim amnesty, or fuck claiming anything, just charge over the border in droves and flood every city. And then they got mad when smart Republican governors like Ray Abbott in Texas said, "I'm shipping them up to the big cities, busloads of them, because now you'll have to deal with them. Your sanctuary city, here they come, welcome." Then you had Mayor Adams in New York going, "We can't," because his population, his citizens were like, "Hey, no. We're not getting these benefits. You're rolling out hotels for them. You're giving them credit cards for food. Wait, what about me? I live here. I work here. I'm struggling. Hey, I'll take that first. Thank you very much." It backfired. But if you wanted to make a case for why people would not want people to be in this country illegally, or claiming sanctuary, or for any other reason other than they waited in line for 7 years and came through the hard way, the Democrats just guaranteed they would get everybody on side to throw these people out. I don't even like watching it. I don't like watching the degree to which they're scooping people up, going into workplaces, scooping them up. I don't like it. It goes against my gut ethos. It does feel a little Gestapo-like, and I don't like it. But that's the result of what Democrats did. They weaponize the thing that they attack, that ends up getting weaponized against them because people push so far to the other way. If you wanted truly to help trans kids in this country, which is a tiny percentage of people, other than the larger percentage that's been told in school to wonder if they are, but the actual number that are tiny, if you wanted to help that tiny minority, you couldn't have done anything worse than what you've done. You've now made people kind of hate them. You've now made people kind of blame them and say they're the problem. You've now made people look at them and say they're sick. You've literally made them the bad guys. Did you ever want to make them the good guys, or were they just political pawns in your game? Did you ever really want to help them? And if so, are you that stupid that you thought doing this would help them? Did you ever really care about all the people coming in who claimed asylum for every reason they could? I will need asylum. Why? Because I don't like where I live. It's bad. It's not how asylum works, but okay. Did you ever really want to help these people? I don't think so. You wanted to flood in as many people that you could convert to easy Democrat votes by getting them in and giving them a place to be here for free with benefits. And you just hated Donald Trump and didn't like he was building a border wall. I mean, your own Democratic presidents, Obama and Clinton, said we can't let this happen. And suddenly you guys were like, not only can we let it happen, we'll tell everyone it's not happening. Don't look at the news feeds that you see every day. It's insane. So you made illegal immigrants now the bad guys, and now people want to throw them out and don't feel bad for them. You did this to yourself. But did you ever really mean to help them? I don't know. Washington is so insular. It's hard to know if inside that bubble, anybody thinks about anything other than power and just holding on to it. And Trump's not excused from this, but Trump was an outsider, came in, got battered by the bubble, left, got battered still by the bubble, and came back and did something really smart. He surrounded himself with outsiders, which makes the insiders crazy. he brought in the outsiders. He brought in the Tulsi Gabbard, who got the crap beat out of her when she tried to run, against Hillary 2015, as a Democrat. And the DNC took her knees off. They said she was a traitor. She was a Russian spy. They literally went after her and cut her to shreds. She was a former Democratic member of Congress from Hawaii. They took her out, made her an outsider. Kristi Noem, Republican governor, already a red state governor, but the media and everybody went after her, made her out to be like a demon. RFK Jr. can't get more like beat up than that. Like, everybody's like, he's a whack, he's crazy, he's a nut. Again, we're going to ignore the fact that if you're a Democrat and a liberal, he kind of helped in many ways define the modern environmental movement, and probably is a big reason we have fresh drinking water in certain places, safe drinking water, and sued every single administration, Democrat and Republican, and everybody up and down the line for environmental rights. But other than that, because you don't agree with his views on vaccine, which at a minimum are just that we could do a safer job of making sure and let parents decide, and maybe everybody doesn't want their kids vaxxed up. I don't know. I never got vaxxed because I was from a religion called Christian Science. So in the more extreme form of that, no medicine. I never had drugs, medicine. I never even had Tylenol till I was 21. I got everything. And I got vaccinated when I was like 19, 20, 2021, because I had to go on a trip to China at that point. I have like one of the strongest immune systems on the planet. People half my age get sick all the time. I heal like that. I've survived just about everything. Now, I get it. Modern medicine has enabled people to survive longer. And that's good. But it's also in some ways crippled our bodies and made us weak and made our bodies fundamentally weak. And at a minimum, all JFK Jr. was saying, what RFK Jr. was saying was, the science doesn't add up here. There's a huge corporate, takeover. They've captured the administrative space. They pour in tons of money and they stand to make billions of dollars. So you on the left who are afraid of the billionaire class, be afraid of pharma. Anything pharma says you should assume is a lie being done to make money. Then let's see what they actually have to offer that's truly good and wants to help people. But let's start with the assumption, like you would with any of Trump's billionaire classes, you like to put it. Their first goal is to make a lot of money. Their second goal is to do the right thing. Just like in Congress, their first goal is to stay in power. Their second goal is to do the right thing. The problem is now the second goal doesn't seem to exist increasingly. It's just to stay in power. It's to battle the other guy. In this case, Democrats especially, hating Trump, do anything to fight Trump and do anything to stay in power. The problem, you guys, if you're Democrats, is you're losing the fight. You're not succeeding at fighting Trump. You're fueling him and making him stronger. You're expanding his base, not shrinking it. And you're not helping yourself stay in office. You're losing seats. You're losing support among your own party. You're losing credibility. You're becoming more unpopular. You're losing across the board. So if your goal was, forget about helping the people. You're not even succeeding at the goal of staying in power. You don't even seem to know how to win an election. I swear, the midterm elections, almost every time the party not in power wins back seats and often takes control of at least one house in Congress. It's a good shot Democrats don't do it this year. And it's a narrow margin, so it shouldn't be that hard. And when they don't, they'll say it's because Republicans redistricted in Texas, but Democrats are going to redistrict in Michigan and California, whatever. It's not going to be because of that. It's going to be because you guys just can't get focused on a message that actually connects with people. And then you're like the Federal Reserve. You figure it out too late and start saying it. It is about the economy, everybody. We should have been paying attention to the economy. Really? You just figured that out now? You just figured that out now, like 8 months after Trump won the election? Just dawned on you? If that rocket I talked about the other day, I'll remind you guys if you don't know, it's twice as big as the size of the rocket that hit Earth and wiped out the dinosaurs and caused the massive ice age and whatever else happened. And remember, I said that supposedly the amount of stuff it would have to grab from interstellar space to beat that big, 10 miles wide, like Manhattan size. It could only be something like that could only accumulate that about every 10,000 years. There's just not enough interstellar matter out there. And yet we've seen 3 in like the last 10 years. Well, not as big as this one, but they're big nonetheless. So this astronomer was very well known from England and like at Cambridge or whatever, Oxford, whatever, is like the weird thing also is not only the unlikelihood of having 2 or 3 of these in such a short time, the mass necessary, but that it's going in a trajectory into our inner solar system that moves around the sun and aligns with the planets that could only happen one. I said this, I think, the other week. So those of you not who've heard this, I'm sorry, but there's a point under it. 1 in 500 times. You could go 1 in 500 is not that crazy. But the chance that it will do what it's doing and kind of pass close to Mars, Venus, and Jupiter as well is 1 in 10, 20,000. So he was just like, it's very possible that this is technology meant to come here and sort of observe our solar system. And if they are observing, wow, they're disappointed. They are disappointed. All right. A couple more things. Trump and Hamas. Who knows what happens there, right? So and even now, as this airs, there could be new information. But the deal was Hamas hands over the hostages. The war comes to an end. Free passage for those Hamas soldiers who want to put down their guns. A version of the Palestinian Authority, and probably the PLA takes over an administrative takeover temporarily in Gaza while it's sorted out. Israel removes all, ceases in its fighting and pulls back, and the peace, what's it called? The Peace Council chaired by Trump is there. I understand why people say it's a bit of a king, but he said they didn't ask. I didn't offer to do it. I'm a very busy man, but they asked me to chair the Peace Council. Whatever. It's still his plan. Give him credit. Like, he's put this plan together. He got Israel to the table. He's got Hamas saying they're coming to the table. The beginning is they got to hand over, the fighting ends, and they got to hand over the hostages, dead and alive. And the end is that there's room to consider Palestinian statehood, autonomy, 2-state system, all that. Israel says yes. Israel's going to have its own problems. I mean, the right wing. I know people think Netanyahu's right wing, but he's got people way more right than him and his government. And if they say no, they could collapse his government. And they don't trust Hamas. And you can see why they don't. Hamas doesn't trust Israel either, but it's different. It's the 2 sides thing. And I hate to equivocate them. They're not quite the same. Israel has done some things that aren't okay, and it's been very aggressive. And I'm sure Netanyahu has used it for political gain. But Hamas and much of the Arab world, until each peace deal has come, for decades have simply gone after Israel to wipe it out. And Hamas has been clear, with the backing of Iran, we will do everything to take you down. Intifada, from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Bye-bye, Jews. If I'm Israel, I don't probably trust you either. And October 7th was the last sign. It was like, now I not only don't trust you, I wipe you out. Hamas had until like yesterday night to accept formally, and they haven't. They said they're thinking. And Trump sort of did another one of those. If you don't, there's going to be bloodshed like you've never seen. I don't know how long he gives them. They're all in talks over there now in Egypt, which by itself is remarkable. Egypt 50 years ago was the enemy. The war between Egypt and Israel was a massive, horrible one. And back then they were the boom. Now Egypt's hosting the peace talks. Has made peace with Israel when Jimmy Carter was president. One of the actually great things Jimmy Carter did. Who knows what happens? It's sometimes I just wonder in all these things, do these fights just continue? Whether they're, the Middle East, than Israel and various Arab countries, whether it's the Republicans and Democrats in our own country, whether it's the left and the right, whether it's men and women. I don't know. Do we just all go in a cycle forever? Okay, last thing. Bari Weiss. If you know Bari Weiss, she ran a thing called the Free Press. She was the opinion editor for the New York Times. Sort of definitely a liberal, but kind of a moderate liberal, gay, married to, had a wife, progressive-ish, but not woke by any means, and tried to be fair-minded, but definitely probably more liberal than conservative at the New York Times. And she quit. She resigned because she was just getting bullied basically by everybody for not being woke, for giving conservative voices a voice, which she's like, but shouldn't we give all voices a voice here at the New York Times? Like, don't we want to reflect people? She went off, started the Free Press. Well, she didn't start it to the Free Press. I forget what she started it as. She started it as something else and then made it the Free Press. And in the last 5 years, 4.5 years, it's blown up. Paramount just acquired it for $150 million and then took her and put her in charge of CBS News. Didn't see that one coming. So she's not the president, but she's the EOC, the editor-in-chief of CBS News. And she sent a thing saying she wants both sides to be held equally accountable. So she wants to make CBS News the most trusted news organization in America and the world. And she wants an open mind, a fresh notebook, and an urgent deadline. And she wants both sides, again, to get Democrats and Republicans to be held equally accountable. All right. This is a noble idea. I'm a little disappointed, but this is going to come back to it. Hold on. I'm going to open up a photo I have because I took a screenshot of this so that I could read it to all you. I'm a little disappointed, but I get it. $150 million. They bought her out. She really went after the mainstream press for being incapable. For the Free Press was about holding both sides accountable, multiple sides, multiple viewpoints, and acknowledge that the mainstream journalism is dead. And now she's going back to it and we're going to rebuild it. Why are you going back to a legacy media machine to try to rebuild it? It'd be like I'm going to go run for Congress to fix it. It's so corroded and broken. You're not going to fix it. And she could prove me wrong. But you're going to have to start by firing half the people there because they don't see that. They actually think they are holding both sides accountable. In fact, if you asked a lot of reporters and people at these big news outlets, they'd say they think they give the Democrats a harder time than they give the Republicans, that they don't hold Republicans accountable enough because they feel aware that they have to be fair. So they're too tough on Democrats. They're not tough enough on Donald Trump and Republicans. They're too generous to the liberal side or too critical of the liberal side, not too generous. It's like, are you insane? Like, do you read the stories? Do you listen to them? So to change that culture, you probably have to get rid of half the people in it. But here's the thing she said, and I'm going to just run through them real quick before we wrap up. She wrote a list of things. She wants journalism that reports on the world as it actually is, journalism that is fair, fearless, and factual, that respects our audience enough to tell the truth wherever it leads, and journalism that makes sense of a noisy, confusing world. Okay, these are just some of them. And then journalism that holds both parties equal, scrutiny, explains things without pretense or jargon, wide spectrum of views. Okay, I don't think it's possible for that anymore. I think we're past it. Even the first one, reports on the world as it actually is. Think about it. The problem is, depending on where you sit, you think the world is one thing, and on the other side, you think it's another thing. It's not like what is the world actually? It just depends on who you ask. And they believe it. They believe it as much as I believe I was born a boy. And you might believe you were born a girl, and somebody else who's 16 believes they truly were just born with neither, and it was just made up. Wow. Well, no. I mean, penises, vaginas, the thing, wombs. No. I don't think there is a world as it actually is to report on. Fair, fearless, and factual. Well, the factual thing again becomes a problem. Fair is subjective. Fearless, like I said, I think a lot of the liberal mainstream media thinks they are being fearless. Like, it's my point. Respects our audience enough to tell them the truth plainly. The audience is listening. The audience that's watching CBS News believes that what's being told fearlessly and factually, that's telling them the truth, is that Donald Trump is horrible, Republicans are bad, Democrats are fighting for their lives, our democracy's at stake, our republic's in trouble, run for your lives, if necessary, even use violence. That is your audience. The audience that needs you to be told the truth plainly wherever it leads isn't watching you. They found other sources and outlets. In some cases, the other side, which tell them a version, but in other cases, independent and actually do. Actually, what you did with the free press, you did that with the free press. Now you're going back into the mainstream legacy media and saying you're going to fix it. The free press was the fix. I'm not trying to rebuild a broken, old, out-of-date news model that doesn't reflect how we think, that's completely staffed by people who think one way and who don't even, the concept of what journalism used to be or could have been is gone. It's a new era. The asteroid is watching. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you all on Wednesday.
Meet Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker?
It's good to see you. Listen,
If you're a Bitcoin maximalist, you're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.
Hey, I don't have all the answers, but together,